Good day everyone! Today I'll be showing you my knowledge about the motherboard and some tools and equipments that you can use in order to manipulate a computer. First one, what is the use of the motherboard in your computer? Motherboard, also known as the main board or the system board, can be seen in your system unit or sometimes what we call the CPU even when it's not. And its function is or it contains rather the circuits and components that make your computer run. So without the motherboard, you cannot use your system unit or you can use the whole computer properly because it is the most important part of a system unit. Without that, all circuits and components that you will be needing will be gone. So the tools and equipments can help you also in manipulating the computer. Whether you want to fix something there, you want to fix something here, you can use those tools in order for you to have to make your hard time be easy in fixing your computer. So for now, let us know first what are the components or circuits or parts that make up a motherboard. So this is what we call the motherboard. This is the motherboard and this is what we call the main circuit board of the computer. So these are the parts that make it up and we will know about them right now. So starting with the small but the terrible one, the CPU. Found in the CPU socket, CPU or the central processing unit is the most important part of a computer. Let's pause this. CPU is always mistaken as the system unit because this is the CPU and not the big one. So we can say that it is small and terrible because it is the brain and the heart of a computer, and it is located on a CPU socket. Let's go. Next, we have here the RAM slots in which we put the RAM or the random access memory, which is in charge of all the data stored when the computer or the power is on. So let's take a peek at the random access memory or the RAM. So when holding a RAM, always do this one. Oh, sorry, I'm just using one hand. Always do this one, so that the data stored in the computer, or so that you can reuse them for a longer time. But this one is, it's not being used anymore, so I can do this like that. But always remember that when you are holding a RAM that is being used, always hold it like this. Next one, we have here the SATA slots in which we put the SATA cables. Yeah, and this is the IDE slots. This is the ATX and these are called pins. And when you say or when you name this one, this will be called 24-pin ATX because it has 24, box-like shapes there on the small rectangle. This one is the south bridge. Some people will ask, is there a north bridge? Oh yes, of course. Underneath this, what we call the heat sink is the north bridge. And always remember, for you not to be confused about the north bridge and the south bridge, always remember that the north bridge is near on the central processing unit or the CPU socket than the south bridge. South bridge is further than the north bridge when you talk about their distance from the CPU socket. These are now what we call the back panel of the computer. It contains some ports like this. These are what we call the ports. This is the PS2 port. Usually used for keyboards that have their old style already, because I have a keyboard that is being inserted here. This is the parallel port, and this is being used for printers, as I have seen in my old system unit. This is VGA, or the Video Graphics Array port, and this is mainly used on projectors if you want to project something. This is the serial port, and this is the LAN port, usually used in Wi-Fi routers. USB port, usually used in the chargers, or when you want to transfer a file from your phone, you use the chargers, wire, and you insert them here in order for you to transfer some files from your computer. This is the audio port, in which you can put your earphones, your headphones, or anything, speakers that in which it can help you on producing music more. The last part of learning the motherboard, I have here the PCI slots, the CMOS battery, and the AGP slot. This is where you put the video card or the LAN card on. That's all for learning the motherboard. I hope you learned something from me. So let's move on to the next topic. Hurrah! We are now done discussing some ideas about the motherboard. So now we'll be moving on, even if we can. Just kidding. So now we can move on the next topic, which is the tools and equipment of a computer. So now we will be learning about some things that you can use in order to manipulate or fix your computer. So let's see. So the first one is the anti-static wrist strap, which prevents ASD damage to computer equipment. Another is the torque screwdriver, in which you use it to loosen or tighten crossed head screws. This is the hex wrench, and it is being used for nuts and bolts. The multimeter is the one being used to test the integrity of the circuit. Here is the lint-free cloth that is being used to clean different components of the computer. Next one is the flathead screwdriver, in which it is being used to loosen or tighten. We also have the pliers, which is being used to hold small parts. And here we have the tweezers. It is used to manipulate small parts. Next one is the wire cutter that is being used to strip and cut wire. Next is the flashlight. It is being used to light up areas that you can see, especially when you are fixing your motherboard inside the system. Here is a little cabinet-like structure, which is the parts organizer. It is used to hold small parts and to prevent them from getting mixed. Sometimes you have parts, for example, the screwdriver, in which once you forgot where you put that, it would be not easy for you to find it. So here's the parts organizer for you to organize your screws or any other things that you won't like to miss. So that's the part. You also need cable ties so that you could tie cables neatly. Next one is the crimping tool. It is being used to crimp RJ45 as well as RJ11, and it is also being used for cutting wire. Next one is the optical drive. It uses lasers to read data on optical media. Usually we insert DVD drives here in the optical drive. The next one we have here is the hard disk drive, or HDD. It is a magnetic storage that is installed inside a computer. And this is being used as a storage that comes in terabytes. We have already discussed the tools and equipment of that you need in making or in manipulating your computer. So thank you for listening to me. I am Jovel Sarmiento from 81STE, sharing my knowledge to you about the motherboard and the tools and equipment. Bye!